Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to LinkedIn Tuesdays. It's December 6, 2022. Please note this event is being recorded and is currently live on Facebook. The recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. Please note that any comments you put in the Zoom chat window will not appear in the recording. For those people on Zoom, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, please just put them in the chat window. For those of you watching on Facebook right now, thank you for joining us. Please just enter any questions you have into the comment field. We're monitoring both feeds. We'll be glad to get that. We'll be sure to get those questions answered for you. Also, for those people who are on Zoom, if you'd like to connect with everybody else who's on the call, please put in your contact information in the chat window. It's a great way to expand your connections, and you never know how you can help somebody else. So put in your contact information and target companies, and you never know who's on the call who may be able to help you. Well, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Morris. Back in 2008, I started a website called careerdfw.org to help those who are unemployed in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. In 2012, I started a second website, careerusa.org, to help those around the United States. I've written a book called What I've Learned About Your Job Search. You may not know, it is available on Amazon, or if you see me in person, I usually have copies with me. Since 2007, I've been facilitating and leading the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group. That group's been around since the late 1990s. I took it over in 2007, and I'll tell you about our upcoming program that we're going to have this Friday at the end of this session. And since 2017, I've been a member of the practice interview team. Remember, your resume and your LinkedIn profile won't get you a job. They only get you a phone call. How well you practice your interviewing skills, that's what's going to get you your next job. All right, well, we have 4 outstanding speakers who talk about LinkedIn. They rotate through on a monthly basis, 1 week every month, but I'm giving them the month of December off. So today, I'm going to be doing the presentation. LinkedIn, present yourself like a pro. I've given this presentation several times. And so let me switch over to it. And so the first thing I want to do talking about LinkedIn is I want to talk about that there's 3 different types of recruiters. And I think you need to know what each one is, what they do a little bit, because how you answer that phone call and you find out what they are, you'll then know what they're looking for. All right, so the 3 types of recruiters. There's an in-house recruiter, an outside contingency recruiting firm or recruiter, and then an outside retained search consultant. All right, so let's talk about each one for a second. So an in-house recruiter could be handling anywhere between 30, 40, 50 different jobs at a time. Okay, now if they're working for a company big like AT&T, they may be working on customer service people only. They may only work for technicians. You know, they may only do technicians in the Northeast. You know, they're sort of specialized in what they do. All right, those recruiters are going to be very, very busy, and they're probably going to rely on the applicant tracking system, or they're going to rely on somebody dropping off a resume to them going, hey, here's somebody you need to look at. So just sort of know that. So when you get that phone call from an in-house recruiter, you know, you want to thank them for calling, and what was it about my, you know, what was it that made me stand out in the list or whatever. For the second group, the outside contingency recruiting firms, when an in-house recruiter, when a company can't hire, doesn't, you know, want to do it in-house, they may hire somebody outside. Babbage and Associates is a great outside contingency firm. They don't get paid until they place somebody. A business may go and hire 2 or 3 or 4 different firms to try to fill the exact same job, but only the company that fills the candidate that the company hires, only that firm will get paid. You do want to make sure now, if you get phone calls for this and it sounds like it's the same job, you really need to clarify it, because you do not want your resume being submitted 2 or 3 by 2 or 3 different recruiting firms, because that a lot of companies will just immediately knock out multiple candidates, or the same candidate from multiple companies, because they don't have to fight with, well, who submitted the candidate first. okay? And then the last category is an outside retained search consultant. Only one firm is hired to fill the role. They've usually had a long-standing relationship with that company. They've placed other people there in the past. They have a good understanding of what the company does and what they're looking for and what it's like. They get paid an upfront fee to find somebody, and then the balance upon placement. And they will have a very good relationship with the employer. So I think it's very, very important for everybody here to understand that when you get that phone call from a recruiter, you want to find out exactly what kind of recruiter are they, because everybody's going to be a little bit different. All right, so what I'm going to talk about on LinkedIn today is just the tip of the iceberg. You know, if we had many, many sessions and lots of hours this week, we could talk about all the other things that LinkedIn does. LinkedIn is constantly changing. It updates things all the time. They don't put a notice out about it. You just sort of, all of a sudden, something's a little bit different. So LinkedIn growth. Back in 2000, or 2009, there were only 37 million people on LinkedIn. Today, that number's over 9 million people on LinkedIn. The growth is just amazing. 97% of recruiters use LinkedIn in some form or fashion. Now, most of them don't pay the big bucks to use the recruiting package. They may just join groups trying to find you in a group. So your goal on LinkedIn needs to be a couple of things. Number one, you want to set up a welcoming LinkedIn profile for recruiters. You've got to have something that's easy to read. You've got to include a picture, explain to people who you are, what you do, and how you can help, and maybe a little bit of personal information. My son runs half Ironman races, and I'm sure he'd list that as a hobby, because, somebody else, it just shows that if you can run a half Ironman, it's a 50-mile bike ride, a mile swim, 13-mile run. It shows you have some determination, you have some grit and desire to get things done. Number two, you want to optimize your profile so the LinkedIn search engine can find you. This is just like a big ATS system, applicant tracking system. Keywords are the key. You've got to have those keywords in there. You should always be updating your LinkedIn profile. Whenever you see a job description and you see keywords and you go, ooh, I don't have that on my profile, you need to get those into your profile. LinkedIn calculates your score every day. You will never know what the score is. It's based on content and activities, how complete your profile is. Activities, you're liking, sharing, posting anything. You can't see your score, and they're not going to tell you nobody's been able to figure out what the point value is, but people have done some testing, try this, see what it does for your profile, and then, and they've come up with several things that you can do to increase your profile or increase your listing. And what we're talking about here is when you're calculating a score, it's when somebody does a search for a project manager, who shows up at the very top, who's on that first page, the people with the highest scores. The search engine is looking for the following. It's looking for a mutual interest between the recruiter and the candidate. When we say a mutual interest, it's you've put in the right keywords, the recruiters put in the job title and a couple search words that they're looking for, and you're hoping to make that match. All right, so they're looking, and then recruiters are also looking for people who are likely to respond. That's one of the categories that a recruiter has. If they have the full-blown recruiting package, they can select right at the very beginning, people who are open to work, the fourth bullet point, and people who are likely to respond. And you'll take that 900 million, last time I saw it, you take it 900 million people on LinkedIn, it takes it down to less than 100 million people. So recruiters like the fact, okay, they've now cut out 1 out of 9 people on LinkedIn. They would be interested. They want to do something like this. Do you follow the company on LinkedIn? Very, very important. You need to be able to, once again, the recruiters are looking in there, when they do a search, one of the fields that they have is, does this person who came up in my search follow the company? And if so, that'll make a big difference. The other thing, you've got to be relevant to the job being searched. Is the title, the key skills match up? Have you passed a skill assessment test? Recruiters can go and put in that they want somebody who knows Microsoft Excel, or they want C++. So they can add that as a skill. And, you know, if you have it, it will move you up in the search engine. So you need to become an all-star, okay? And LinkedIn will help you. It'll tell you, well, have you done this? Have you done that? To be an all-star, you have to have a current position, a location. You've got to put in where you live, preferably the largest metroplex from where you're at. If you lived in Wiley or Prosper or Weatherford, instead of putting those cities, you probably want to put the Dallas-Fort Worth metro. If you live in Evanston, you probably want to put the Chicago metro area. You need to pick an industry. What's your industry in? You need to have a summary statement. We'll talk more about that. You need to pick at least 5 skills. We'll talk more about that. You've got to have an education listed, whatever it is you've done. Don't lie about this. Remember, you'll get found out. Remember the coach at Notre Dame who got hired and apparently he fibbed on his LinkedIn profile or on his resume. And 3 weeks after they hired him, they fired him since he lied on his resume. So you want to tell the truth. If you don't have a degree, but you've done some hours on that, there's a way to show that you've completed a certain number of hours. And then you want to have a good headshot. And we're going to talk all about that in just a second. All right, maximizing the titles. Okay, very, very important. Once again, you want to be sure to use titles that LinkedIn has standardized. When you look at the open to work section, you start typing in titles, there is no chief people person. There's a director of talent acquisition. There's a director of human resources. There's a senior recruiting manager. So you want to make sure that on your profile, you're using the standardized job titles. Recruiters use that. They just start typing in customer and then boom, up will come service, you know, whatever the different options are, they're going to pick those things. So always pick the default titles. Number 2, you want to make sure that you put multiple titles in your headline, and you want to add the open to work banner. And then any additional titles you can put in the experience section. So if you have let's say you're a project manager, and that's very broad. After the job title in parentheses, you may want to put down specializing in fiber optics or specializing in cell phone towers or whatever it is, just to, you know, give some relevance to what it is you're doing. So here's my headline. This is off my screenshot of my thing. I like to start out everything with action verbs. So I put down accomplished, and then I have 3 job titles: manufacturing manager, operation manager, general manager. I then put a saying that I do things better, faster, smarter, and then that I'm a speaker at career workshops and seminars. So it sort of tells people what it is. So you want to have, I would say, 3 lines. You can have up to 220 characters, which is 4 or 5 lines. But I think anything over 3 lines is really too much to do. All right, so here's a great little headline title generator. If you want to take a screenshot of this, you may want to do that with your camera. You know, you always want to start out with an adjective: accomplished, award-winning, certified, experienced, energetic, transformational. Give it some kind of adjective, something to get people excited. And then you want to add a couple job titles. And those are job titles you find on the list of LinkedIn job titles. And then you want to add a value. What is it you bring? You're specializing in, focused on bringing, developing, building teams, whatever that is. And so the last is just an example: dynamic program manager driving brand awareness through product, through integrated marketing. Tells people who it is you can do. So you can be, you know, you can have a few multiple titles there. All right, when you maximize your skills, you want to maximize those keywords that pertain to your job. They need to be in 2 different places. They need to be in the about section, which is now the summary statement. Summary statement, about section, the same thing. And they need to be in your experience section. Keywords really need to be mentioned 3 to 5 times throughout your LinkedIn profile for the search engine to really find something and make a big hit. When recruiters put a skill in their program and they call somebody up, it will highlight for them anything that they put in the search engine, exactly what they're looking for. Job titles, keywords will all be highlighted. So you want to make sure they're in there at least, I say 3 to 5 times if you can. Now, some of the skills that companies need most, this is from 2021, the top 5 soft skills: somebody who's creative, somebody who's got persuasion, collaborative, adaptability. Think about how life has changed in the COVID. Somebody with emotional intelligence. And then some hard skills: blockchain, cloud computing, and analytical reasoning. You can Google top skills people look for right now, currently in 2022. Make sure those skills are on your profile, because that's going to help you be found. All right, your skills and endorsement section. Maximum number of skills allowable is 50. I recommend between 45 and 50. 3 of those skills are going to be showcased in your profile. Most people are not going to click and open up your skill section. So you want to make sure that the 3 most important skills that you want to be seen for and noticed for, you bring up to the very, very top. There's a way to do it. It's a little convoluted now, but you can still get it done. Move those top 3 skills up. Otherwise, LinkedIn's just going to take the first 3 skills that it sees. This is also a good place to make sure that, these are other keyword matches and skills it could have. You want to make sure you've got hard skills, technical skills, and soft skills. Don't just make it all soft. Don't make it all hard. You want to have that combination of both. If you can, alphabetize them for easier reading. I've heard at one point LinkedIn automatically alphabetized them for you, but then I've heard they stopped doing that. So you never know, day to day what's going to happen there. So and you can do that by if you click on edit your things, you can click on the little hamburger and drag them up and down to make them go. They will be in different categories, and you can't move them from one category to the other, but alphabetize each of those sections just in case somebody happens to open up and take a look at it. All right, the skill assessment. LinkedIn has a skill quiz that allows members to take assessments on various skills to show their proficiency. They can be technical stuff like C++, Python, JavaScript. They could be business stuff like Microsoft Excel, Word, PowerPoint. And they can be design things like Adobe Illustrator, Photoshop, InDesign, and iMovie. Early results have been showing that if you passed a skills assessment, you're significantly more likely, 30% more likely to get hired. I've even heard of recruiters who have reached out to candidates who they like and go, I need you to take one of the following 3 skills assessment. When you're done, let me know. Then they'll go and look and just see if you've done that. This is a cheap way for them to do some pre-screening just to see if you know what you're talking about. The skill assessment tests usually they're usually 15 to 20 multiple choice questions. It is timed. You have to complete it at one time, so you can't start and stop. The scores must be in the 70th percentile or more to be awarded the little badge, and the little badge is that little clipboard that you see down in the lower right-hand corner. Supposedly, they're only valid for 12 months. I have not heard of any of these expiring yet, but the original goal when they set it up was they'd be good for 12 months, and then you'd have to retake the assessment after that. If for some reason you don't get a 70 score, 70 or above score, you can take the assessment one more time, but you have to wait 3 months. And after 3 months, if you don't pass it, you won't be able to take that assessment anymore. All right, let's talk about pictures. Here's the good, the bad, and the fuzzy. All right, so let's start over here. Let's start over here in the upper left-hand corner. Good picture, nice and close, but it's hazy and the background is too bright. So it's not as clear as this picture right next to it. It's nice and sharp and clear, but the problem is it's not very professional looking. This first picture, the guy's got a tie on, which is great. This one here, the guy's on his, I think, LSU shirt on or something. And the background, it's too much. Both these backgrounds for picture 1 and picture 2 are too much. Over here for this third one, I like pictures that are closer. I think it should be a lot closer. This is just too far away. you know, I want to see who you are. I don't care about your legs and your arms and stuff. I'm looking for this like a photo album to be able to see who we are. This next one, top left, top right picture. I'm sorry, top right picture. This is Gail. Gail him or Gail her? How do you know which Gail this is? Okay, you don't want to do that. Down here at the very, very bottom, I like this picture, nice and clear, a good headshot, a good smile. You're looking directly on into the picture. This one here is great. Person puts on here that they're open to work, which is wonderful. So that way we know you're looking for work. This next one here, not so good. He's got the open to work banner, but he's way too far away. You can't see who he is. And we don't care about all this background on here. If you want a black and white picture, that is fine. You're welcome to do that. Now, the one thing I will say about this lower right and lower left-hand corner is that I would flip the pictures 180 degrees so their shoulders are facing the other way. Now, they're both looking at us, but if you think about if you think about the profile here, by looking here, see my picture here, I'm looking in towards the screen. Here, these people are looking away, and in LinkedIn, your picture's in the upper left-hand corner. So that means you're looking off the screen. So it's a slight little thing. In my mind, it's something you want to flip. You want to flip those shoulders around to make sure you're looking in to the body of LinkedIn. All right, let's talk a little bit about networking. This is a great tool to network. And one of the things I think that everybody needs to look at is their alumni association, wherever they went to school at. All right, so if you type in your college name, and here we're using University of Houston, you see at the very, very bottom that there's a home, about, post, jobs, alumni, videos. Number one, you want to make sure that you follow any university. You know, if you went to the school, it will automatically add you to follow. But if your kids went to the school, your significant other went to the school, you may want to add the school just because it'll allow you to connect with some more people. But if you click on alumni, we now see that from 1900 to 2021, the University of Houston has 230,000 people that are on LinkedIn during that time period. So there's a couple of things you can do. You can type in where they live. You can type in where they work. If you click on see more, it'll open up. You get to see up to 5 different categories. So where they work may be very interesting. If you wanted to, you could click here and you could type in the name of a company, and then it'll show you all the people who work at that company who went to the University of Houston. When you click on see more, you can find out what they do. You can find out, you know, what were they in business development and operations and education and engineering. So here's another way for you to zoom down, especially if you put a name of a company up here, then you can find out what they do. It'll make a big, big difference. And then you can go down here and go, you know, how are you connected to these people? So it's sort of amazing that of the 230,000 people, I have a third degree connection to 228,000 of those people. I have 37 people that I'm first degree connected with, okay? So on your connections on LinkedIn, you want to have over 500 connections. You only need 500, because once you hit 500, it'll say 500 plus. You're never going to have, it doesn't show 10,000, 4,000. You don't see those numbers anymore. LinkedIn changed that a while back because at one point, all people were doing is to see how many people can I connect with. It was a big game. So they changed it just to show 500 plus. So try to find people that are in your field. Find people that have similar industry and job function that you're trying to search for. Add recruiters who work in those targeted companies if you can. So if you find a company, you say you want to work for IBM, search IBM recruiters, and then try to connect with some of those people, especially if you can find recruiters who happen to do something in what you're interested in doing. Also, add people that have job titles that could denote a hiring manager in that particular company. So if somebody who's in charge of director of engineering and you're an engineer, connect with that person, reach out to them. It'll make a big difference. All right, a couple of settings in LinkedIn that you need to adjust. Very, very important here. You want to make sure that you turn off viewers of this profile also viewed. I'm sure you've looked at people's profiles, and on the right-hand side, it say people also viewed. These were other people just like the person I was viewing. And why do you want to promote anybody else? So turn that feature off so that way they would have to search for those people and they're not getting it as a free ride from you. The other thing you want to do is be sure to turn off shared job changes, education changes, and work anniversaries from your profile. So the reason you want to turn this off is because every time you make a change, every time you add a word, every time you add a keyword, if that's on, it'll notify your network that you've made a change, that you now have a new job, even though you don't have a new job. It'll just say that, you've changed something. So keep that turned off unless you want to let people know that you're starting a new job, or unless you want people to know whatever change it is you've made. Be sure to optimize your contact information section. We need your, phone number, your email address. Birthday is optional, but you got to have a phone number and email address. And the reason I say you do this is because you want to make it easy for people to reach out and connect with you. Now, the problem with this little field is if we're not a first read connection, I can't reach out to this person. I can't find this person's contact information. So I've gone and I've actually created a banner instead of the generic LinkedIn banner. I've created my own banner and I put my email address and my phone number right there so people can reach out and find me right away. I've made it easy. Alexandra says, what's the perception of a Google Voice number? It's great. If you don't, especially women, you don't want to give out your personal cell phone, or get a Google Voice number. Nobody knows it's a Google Voice number. Only you do. They're not, when they're calling up that number, they're not going to know it's a Google Voice number. So, please, if you want to get one, it's more than welcome to do it. It's very effective and very useful. So I have a word cloud in the middle of mine, and I have a copy of my book, just I'm, promoting my book just to say people I did that. There's a great program out there called canva.com, canva.com, and you can create your own banner. Just type in LinkedIn. I mean, you do have to register, but it's free. There is a paid version that allows you to get more photos and some other technical things, but you don't need the paid version at all to do anything I've done. Type in LinkedIn, you're going to do LinkedIn banner, and then when you do that, you can go create your own banner. You can pull everything in you want. Let's talk a little bit about the about section. It used to be called the summary statement. This is 2,200 characters. You want to write it in first person. You want to keep the paragraphs to no more than 3 lines. The reason being, when you put a whole block of text in, like at the very bottom, nobody's going to read that. But I don't care if people don't read that at the bottom, because I did that as a keyword to put my keywords in. Okay, so I'm writing, whoops. There we go, sorry about that. I'm putting in here who I am, what I do. Now, how can I help your company? I'm, listing, here's what I can do for people. I'm saying, let's get connected. Here's my phone number, my email address. I put this in here again because anybody who finds my LinkedIn profile, if they don't see it in the banner, will find it in the about section. Now, some of the LinkedIn people who do presenting here think that you should put this first line, put this connected line at the very, very top. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I like to just make sure it's in there. And you don't have to put email : and your email address, and phone : and your phone number. If people don't know it's a phone number and email address, do you really want them contacting you? So just don't even do that. And then at the very bottom, like I pointed out here at the very bottom, lots of keywords, lots of, the first place the keywords appear, and then they're going to appear down in my experience section. All right, whenever you send a personal note, you always want to make sure that you connect with somebody via personal note. If you don't, we're not going to know, I'm not going to know why I should connect with you. Give somebody a personal reason to do so. So personally, I don't connect with anybody who sends me a generic invitation. I want to know why. I want to know that you saw me here at this session. I want to know that you saw me, giving a presentation somewhere. Just let me know something about our conversation. You can even send a personal note on using your cell phone. This is a screenshot off of a iPhone. I think they've replaced that more with 3 little lines now, or 3 dots or something. But when you click on that, it will come up and you see on the screen on the right with personalized invite. So even on a cell phone, on a tablet, you should always be able to send that personalized invitation. You always want to look for the blue connect button. So when you see somebody's profile and you see a white connect button, if you click on that white connect button, it sends the personal email. It just sends that generic invitation. Okay. When you see the blue connect button, so what you do is, if you see a white connect person, click on the person's face. When you click on their face, up will come the screen on the right-hand side, which gives you an option to connect. And when you ever see a blue connect button, you can always connect with that person and send them a personal note. If you don't see a personal connect button, if you don't see that blue connect button, it says follow, click on more, very lower right-hand corner. If you click on more, usually you'll be able to find a connect button, which will then allow you to send that personal note. All right, every day you should spend 15 to 20 minutes, 15, 30 minutes a day. It should be really quick. It's not hard, but go through and clear the red. I always go from right to left. I'll look at my homepage really quick. I'll then go and see, well, who sent me connection request. I'll then go and check any messages that I have. And then I'll go look at any notifications I have. Very important. Now, we talked about, talk about messages a little bit. You want to make sure that you respond to messages, because if you don't, LinkedIn's going to think that you're not active. All right. During your 15 to 30 minutes every morning or afternoon, whatever you check, you want to like, comment, or share on 3 to 5 posts. Find something out there and like it. Share it with your group. Now, if you're looking at a posting that's in a group, you can't share it because you're already in a group, but you can like and comment on it. All right. If you can, 1 to 2 articles a week, create an article, pull an article in that you've seen someplace else. There's a website called feedly.com, FEEDLY.com. This is a great way to have a program or to find a topic, find a story, copy it in or bring it over into LinkedIn, and then write, a couple lines what you agree with this or you disagree. You think this is really great. I think this is something really good. This will show people who you are and how you think. And then also, as we mentioned before, also follow company pages. Very important, follow company pages. All right, here's a great little tool. If you're not familiar with it, it's called a Boolean Search. I use this all the time. This is really, really great. If you're not sure, write down Boolean. You can Google it on, just Google it and you'll find out how it works and everything. But what you do is a capital AND, capital O, or capital NOT, quotes. And I never use the parentheses at the very bottom, but I will use those top 4 things all the time. So you could put something like, you're looking for a recruiter and technology, but not in oil and gas. And you put oil and gas in quotes because otherwise oil and gas are 3 different words and you don't want that. You want to make sure that oil and gas comes together in that search. So this is really a great way to do things. When I was at a conference, a couple months ago up in DC at a conference, people come by, they want me to look at their LinkedIn profile, and they give me their name, and there'd be, 10 different people with their name, and we couldn't find them on the first list. So I said, all right, give me your name. Then I typed in AND, capital AND, and then I said, give me your company name. And they gave me their company name, and then boom, they popped right up because they're the only person who had both things on there. So it's a really great way to search things. You can do this on LinkedIn, on Bing, on Firefox, all search engines use this Boolean search. All right, the last thing I want to mention real quick is something called a LinkedIn Social Selling Index. You may want to write this email address, this address down, www.linkedin.com/sales/SSI. What this does is this will tell you how you're doing on LinkedIn. Okay, so I'm #1 in my industry. I'm in the top 4 of my network. I've got about 4,000 connections, so I'm in the top 4%. So, this shows that I need to improve on finding the right people and engaging with insight. I don't do enough posting. I'm not searching really for anybody. So as far as finding the right people, that's not something I have to do, but you want to get your score up. 60 in the 60s would be great. I bet if most of you do this, you're probably going to be in the 30s and 40s. That tends to be the first thing until you start getting active and still you have a LinkedIn profile and you're using LinkedIn on a daily basis. So this is just a few things I want to talk about there. All right. Let's see here. Let me stop for a second. And if anybody has any questions, I'm willing to answer any questions. We can go take a look at your profile. We can, whatever it is you'd like to do, tell me what you want to do. Comments, questions? Going once, going twice? All right, well, no comments or questions. I tell you what, let me show you a few slides here at the end and we will get done. Let's see here. If you want to link in with me, you're welcome to do so. Just send me a personal note. I do not accept anybody's connection request without that personal note, but you're welcome to link in with me. All right, I need everybody to please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jeff Morris, promise to always send a personal note whenever I send a LinkedIn request to connect with anyone. This includes when I use my cell phone or my computer. Very, very, very important. As I mentioned before, never click on that white connect button. When you see that white connect button, click on the person's face and look for the blue connect button, and that'll allow you to send a personal note, and I always do so. Just anything. We're an alumni, see you went to the same school I did. Just whatever, something that makes the bond so we know. Career DFW, Career USA, we're putting on training 4 days a week. Please join us. Tomorrow, for Interviewing Wednesdays, we're going to talk about difficult interviewers and questions and cultivating confidence during the interview. So come join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. On Thursday, being the second Thursday of the month, we're going to talk all about networking, knockout approaches to networking. Michael used to be a boxer, and so his whole gear, everything he does is sort of in a boxing genre, and how to knock out, to make it happen. So if you're interested, please come join us this Thursday. It's a really interesting presentation. And then this Friday at the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group meeting, we're going to talk about the one-page bio. I think a one-page bio is an extremely effective and important tool. I think everybody needs to have it. So we'll be playing the session. We're now meeting in person. So if you'd like to join us in person, you can. If not, we still will be online on Zoom and Facebook. If you'd like to join the Career DFW or Career USA LinkedIn groups, you're welcome to join one or both. You do not need to live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area to join the Career DFW group. It's just I started each one of these when I started the websites. So they're both there to do it. We have over 14,200 members in the Career DFW group. And I will tell you this, probably 1 out of 10 or 1 out of 15 people who join our group, they're recruiters, and they're recruiters trying to find you because they're not paying for the full-blown recruiting package. But they know that a lot of these people in the group have been unemployed, were unemployed, and would be open to talking to new possibilities. So consider joining one or both of the groups. This session has been recorded. It will be on the Career DFW Facebook page and the Career USA YouTube channel. On the Career USA YouTube channel, be sure to click on playlist. I have over 420 videos currently up on the YouTube channel, and it's really a lot of them. But if you click on playlist, there's only 7 different playlists. Find the one you want to see. Today's would be, LinkedIn. And whether you see that red arrow, click on View Full Playlist, and then up will come a list with all the different dates. Most current ones should be on top, otherwise hit the little sort button and you'll be able to go back and watch any of the videos that are out there at your convenience. If you're not receiving emails about our workshops and you'd like to join the Career USA mailing list, you're welcome to do so. Just send an email to Career USA, the + subscribe at groups.io. You will never be spammed, but what you will get is the topic of the day, the title of the day, and most importantly, the Zoom link of the day. Zoom link of the day. I control the list, so nobody else will be ever sending emails out via that group list. Please remember, Career FW, we're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees. Everything I've done over the last 14 years has just been to help you land your next great opportunity. So thank you for joining us today, everybody. Have a great Tuesday, and hopefully we'll see you later in the week.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.